Day 7, Rhodes. We were having a quiet day, no excursions, so we had breakfast in the main dining room, and Ruth discovered she could have fresh pancakes and a fruit compote with cream, which pleased her very much. The view over Rhodes from deck 10 was absolutely wonderful. You could see right the way over the old town and its walls, and then you can just see at the bottom of the screen how even this port area has been used historically, and it fits into the rest of the story. Anyway, talking about doing things at ground level, here's my first attempt at a walking tour of the city of Rhodes. Right then, here we go. There's Marella discovery at the port of Rhodes, and here we are in the old town. We've just come through the Virgin Mary Gate, and we were faced with this splendid sight as we came in. It's a beautiful morning. It's a 9:45, and it's a lovely day, so let's go and explore Rhodes Town. You enjoying yourself, Mrs. J?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's touristy, of course it is, but not as bad as some, I don't think. Look, quite nice stuff there. I could see Mrs. Canuck shooting off in there for a ferret. We were here just around about 2 years ago, almost exactly, and we loved Rhodes. So when it was one of our ports of call, although we've been here before, we immediately decided this is where we wanted to come and not bother with an excursion. We know that it's just a great place to, as my mother would have said, and my gran for that matter, just follow your nose, not anything particular in mind, just go and see where you end up. This handsome fella. Look at that for a tree. My goodness. Coming in some kind of vines. Like we always say, you never knew there were so many things you didn't want or didn't need until you come to a place like this. Again, some beautiful jewellery on offer. I think we're getting into the old town part now. Yeah, so there are maps of the city all over the place, really nice detailed one. And we're just basically going to keep following this around and then turn left, and then go up the hill past the Grand Master's Palace. I think that would be worth seeing. But it is a great place. Love Rhodes. Heartily recommend it to anybody, whether you're here for a day or you're coming to the island for a holiday, because it's gorgeous. Look at that tower over there. I mean, everywhere you look. Now we're out of the wind, the sun is really hitting hard. Grief. You have trouble getting that in your suitcase.
Yeah, I doubt it's for sale actually.
Well,
It's a big one.
not sure what you'd do with it if it was for sale. And there are lots of restaurants. Lots of restaurants. We ate in several and found them all the ones we chose pretty good. So everything from a cup of coffee to a beer to a meal. No trouble at all. Well, that appears to be saying 17 centigrade. It doesn't feel like 17 centigrade on the back of my neck, that's for sure. Okay, we're now back somewhere more I remember. It's coming up to the Street of the Knights and the Temple of the Grand Master. There are lots of ruins falling over history everywhere you look. Rhodes is a beautiful place. Everywhere you look, there's little alleys beautifully kept. Sponges. Doing a lot of restoration work. They were doing work here as well when we were here before. We are now coming up to the Street of the Knights. There were different orders based on the nationality of the knights, and they all had their own inns. And as you can see from this, we've got Provence, France again, English I think, France again. France was dominant in the order, Italian there. But this is again a very steep street up the hill. and it's worth walking up to have a look. That'll take you all the way back down to the harbour, or very close to it. You can just see Discovery's funnel poking over the top of that arch, so you haven't really come very far. That is the Grand Master's Palace Museum, which is superb inside, absolutely superb inside. Worked in there last time we were here, may well go again later on, depending how the weather holds up. It's forecasting rain this afternoon. Doris at the moment, we'll keep our fingers crossed. But yeah, Palace of the Grand Master, definitely worth going into. It's fantastic. And then if we go further along this way, we're getting back to where we used to come in when we were staying on Rhodes for a week 2 years ago. We used to come in on the bus from where we were staying, which was very cheap, very crowded. In Britain we'd have seats for 32, standing for perhaps another 12 or 15. Well, you come to Rhodes and you have seating for 32 or whatever, and then you'll have standing for about 85, because they seem to stop at every stop that there's somebody waiting for. It doesn't matter how crammed you are on the bus, you're expected to shuffle up, and if you're not careful you end up standing in the next bloke's pocket. It really is that tight, but it's all good natured. But this little street here, where we used to come in, I'm not sure which street this is. I'm sure you can find it on the map if you wanted to. We used to come in just here from the bus through that little patch right there. Beautifully laid out. As I say, Rhodes Town and the whole area is really nice. Beautifully clean, beautifully kept. Everything about it is just superb. And then we used to walk along here, and there are lots of restaurants and cafes and what have you. And whether you want a cup of coffee and ice cream or a full meal, you can get catered for down here. Walk round any street in Rhodes and you'll see these little alleyways somewhere cars can drive down. Many ways they can't. They're always beautifully kept and a treat to actually see. There are lots of cats about, so inevitably you can see pussycats fast asleep in the sunshine. And to be absolutely honest, it was quite warm that day and quite humid, so I rather wished I could join it. We carried on walking down the street. There was an archaeological site at the side of the road. Once archaeology has been discovered, Greg said you can't build on it, so it was having to be left open, and this plant had colonised it. Walking along, it's amazing what you find. Here's obviously an oldish doorway, been painted up in beautiful colours, a sort of ochre and a deep blue, rather attractive, with a faint pattern on the door. The defensive ditch around Rhodes is very deep, and there really aren't many exits, so I can remember getting stuck down there and feeling very hot and bothered. One thing I've got to say is, if you come to Rhodes and find yourself inside the defensive ditch, turn around and go back, because it's a long way round, and there aren't many places to get out, so you're walking around here and it can get very warm. It's very nice, but we're standing here over this little bridge and there's no way to get found, so you're Imagine chasing up there, and then there are very, very few exits from this once you're in it. So no, don't. If you find yourself in something like this, get back and find another way into the city, because you won't thank yourself. Just as we had at Bodrum, for the same reasons, there are crests over all the doors gates leading into the city. There's an inscription to that one if you want to pause it. We also found that the Greeks still have a philosophical bent, and I think that's one we can all agree with. He was a little bit sad. It was Sunday, and unfortunately the museum was closed, but I really would have loved to have bought that R25 BMW and taken it home for restoration, instead of it being stuck on a windowsill and basically rotting away. And then we had lunch. We chose a little street side restaurant, and the food was absolutely fine. And I asked for a Mythos, because I like Mythos beer in Greece. Instead of being offered a bottle, he said, "Do you want small, medium or large?" Thinking small was going to be about 500 ml, the normal kind of measure. I said medium, expecting to get 750 at the outside a litre. And I got this glass boot, which must have had at least 2, if not 2.5 litres in it. It's a scam, and it wasn't one just this place was running. I noticed it at other restaurants, and some poor swines had the big one, which must have been pushing at least 3 litres. It rather took the edge off it, so after lunch we had a little bit more of a wander around, then walked back along the roadway to the ship. Past these, they're dolphins or porpoises. Dolphins, I think, harbour dolphins probably. Doesn't look like the gulls are particularly keen on them, does it? And the sail away from Rhodes is really quite nice. The whole day had been reasonably good apart from that scam. So there we are, just move sideways out of the dock and then just glide away into the night. We had a full day in Marmaris because we were staying on the ship doing back-to-back cruises, and we walked in through the marina and saw this astonishing structure which lifts boats out of the water and onto staging so that repair work can be undertaken. There's a bridge partway around, about halfway I suppose, that is a real viewpoint around the bay and the marina. That's looking one way back towards our ship, and that's looking the other way up the river. The bridge means that only small boats can go on that side, but it's still a very attractive sight. And as we cross the bridge, we've got a better shot of Discovery, and you know what I'm like for taking photographs of the cruise ship. We like Marmaris. It's nicely set up, it's modern in many places, traditional in others, but the main streets are lined with statues, and we loved this one of the kids petting pets, but what made it was the cat asleep on the bench. This is another one which is seagulls over a piece of rock. Big wide modern shopping street, very, very attractive, lovely place to just have a wander around. We decided we'd go to the castle, which is approached from where we were up a very narrow alley. We got stuck behind another tour group, but it did mean we had the chance to appreciate this lovely balcony and roof terrace structure in blue. And you can get wonderful views of the harbour and any cruise ships that happen to be there from the battlements of the castle. There's not a lot of castle left inside. It was damaged in some wars, First or Second World War, I forget which. But they've restored it, made it all safe inside. There's a nice little park inside and some rooms which have some exhibits in a local museum kind of thing. The bay that Marmaris sits in is really quite spectacular. It's surrounded by wooded hills and islands, and the sailing, such as we caught from our window as we sailed in, it comes in quite early in the morning, looked absolutely wonderful. It's a great shame that unless you get up at the crack of dawn or stay up till well after midnight when it's pitch black anyway, you're not going to see the sail away. Great shame that. Now as I pan round, you can see the fringes of Marmaris coming in and more of it, and as you see these ships, there's the castle just come in on the left hand side, more or less in the centre now, and it's absolutely lovely. In the evening we went back to the main dining room and I had something I haven't seen for years as my dessert, a rum bar. Really nice. Not very good for the waistline though. Marmaris is still lovely even when it's fully dark. It's all lit up obviously for the nighttime tourists venturing out to the bars and restaurants and whatever else people get up to on holiday. And it's really pretty, isn't it? I loved it. There's the castle surrounded by the boats and the harbour all lit up. Missed that.